Whenever I do a painting, I start with a small sketch. This is my sketchbook. This is the viewer. And I just to get an idea of where my darks and where my lights are going to be. Let me see if I can find quickly another example. Yeah, here we go. You know, another scene of a house in a meadow with a few, and here's another barn scene. So I can very quickly see what my darkest areas are, what my light areas are, and what my middle tones are. So even though we've already drawn this lighthouse, I just want to review for you, and this is a common practice for all painters, is to do a small, what we call a thumbnail sketch. Oh, Bill, I didn't start to record. I'm starting to record. All right. Starting with a thumbnail sketch. So, just as I did before, I draw that little horizon line. I know my lighthouse is somewhere in here. There's the peak of it. And this does not have to be real detailed. And I know I've got a tree there. I got another tree up here, another tree here, horizon line, and this. Okay, now I'm going to take my darker 4B pencil. I'm going to look, okay, where are my darks? Okay, well, darks are going to be up here into that lighthouse, get a little conical shape there. I don't really worry too much. Okay, now the side of the lighthouse is fairly dark. I'll throw that in there. And okay, and the tree over here with its shadow. Another tree in here. Another tree there. And then I do have a few little bushes out here. I have and then here's my row, and I'm going to have, now, if the lighthouse is the lightest thing, then the sky is a slight tone, and I'm not really going to get too fussy with this. And I'm going to keep sort of, whatever happened to my eraser, I don't know. So my lightest lights are up in here. I'll pull this up. My lightest lights are up here. I'm going to keep a sort of a light path down here, and everything else is either a mid-tone or a dark. And I'm trying to link my darks, like the dark of the shadow of that lighthouse is going to link up a little bit with some of these trees, okay? And I can see. Now, what's my focal point? Why did I decide to do this? Well, clearly, this is the focal point. And there's an old design truism. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way now. That if you have a piece of paper, a rectangular piece of paper, and you divide it into thirds vertically and thirds horizontally, these four intersecting points are the best place to put a focal point. Now, you don't put a focal point in all of them, but in my lighthouse picture, clearly the focal point is going to be this little quadrant. Now, keep in mind, I took this picture, so when I was aiming it and lining up the lighthouse, I purposely put it off center. I purposely put the top of the lighthouse in this quadrant. If I had moved it around and put the lighthouse in the center of the painting, I don't think it would be as interesting. That's just, and if I'm doing another thing, if I've got another story, I've got this a line of a horizon line, and I have a boat that I'm really interested in. That boat, I'm going to try to put in this spot on the water and have all the rest of the stuff be sky. All right. Or if I have a fisherman, maybe I put the fisherman's head and shoulders right here. He's in the river, but the rest of it is fairly simple. All right. So focal points, whether you're inside or outside, you got to kind of make up your mind where it's going to be. And I think for this painting, the focal point is pretty much predetermined. I do want to show you one other thing. And Ann Pearson, you brought this up, and I appreciate you showing me your drawing. When you have rivers or paths or roads, you want to avoid dropping off the bottom too quickly. Instead, let your S shape, whatever it is, water or a highway, let it run off the sides. Let it be a little bit more of a gentle turn rather than a falling off the face of the earth kind of thing. All right. So that's why now I get to my painting. That's why I'm keeping this a little bit of an S curve. It's going to go off the page here, come across and zip in there. All right. Okay. I kind of jumped into this kind of quickly. I want to thank Bill Prickett, who's in the back, helping me learn all the computer sides and helped me buy the equipment for these microphone stands. And I want to thank Elaine, who was my guinea pig the other day. She's in the gallery today, helping me with a lot of support. And of course, Maria, who's always kind of pushed me to do this class and has been very supportive and helpful with all our communications. So before we get started, let's just agree. You're nervous. I'm nervous. We're just here to have fun, right? We're gonna enjoy ourselves. We're gonna relax for a little bit, and we're gonna tap into our creative side, and whatever comes of it, whatever, right? We're not looking to line up a framer for whatever we do today. Okay, I'd like them to start with I'll start with the sky. Now, those of you in the gallery, I've given you a 2x4 to tip your painting up. I am on a tilt top table. Is this thing working here? Okay. Now, Bill, is this Logicam? Can I be seeing this? Well, I'd like to be able to see my picture and the Logicam thing. Well, I wonder if I can do it up here. I don't know. I just want to make sure the camera is aimed at my palette. Let me get the gallery view. Go back. Okay, we've got it pretty good. That's fine. That's fine, Bill. Right where it is fine. Okay, good. Okay. If you're at home and you are on a flat table, you want to have your paper propped up with something not much higher than a muffin pan or a bread pan. So if you're at home, when we take a little bit of a break, you're going to want to get something to prop up the top edge of your paper so that it's at a slight slant. Okay. Now we're ready for the paint. If you've taken my classes before, you know the colors I use, and I also send everybody a materials list, but I'll point out I have two blues. One's ultramarine and cerulean. That's called a warm blue and a cool blue. I'll get into this on another day. I have two reds, alizarin crimson and Windsor. Two yellows. I have new gamboge over in a corner and raw sienna, and it's kind of a brownish yellow. Then I have aureolin, which is a very bright yellow down here. I keep it away from the other colors because it gets contaminated in the palette. And those 6 or 7 colors are my basics. I do have a couple of browns that I occasionally use, but not very often. Okay. Whew. Okay, painting the sky. Someone once said, the sky is the soul of the painting. And whatever mood the sky creates will be the mood of the painting. And that's obviously true in landscape painting. All right, I'm going to take color. In watercolor, you want to make sure there's no white paint in watercolor. You leave the color of the paper there. I'm going to throw water, a pretty generous amount. And I'm going right through the lighthouse, right through the top of it, around the top. And I can't do this. And Marie, actually, this is where your sponge, you could use your sponge to sponge and create a lot of water very quickly if you don't have a big brush like I've got. Yeah, the biggest brush you got for putting the water on. Okay, now I got to be careful here. I got to go backhanded here. Bring this down. I'm going to go right down to the water line of the, there we go. Okay, now you guys, oh no, I don't expect you to be painting now. Hold, slow down. So you guys in the class, watch me. I'll paint for 10 minutes and then you do what I've been doing, because you can't kind of do both. So just hold off. Nobody's done any color yet. No, you've got some water, but you can always reapply the water. So even at home, you should be just watching me. I think between 9 and 12 minutes, I'll be throwing some paint on here and doing some magic. I'm also going to throw a little bit of water. I'll keep this wet down the side of the lighthouse. Gosh, you guys, that would be crazy to try to keep up with, to paint while I'm painting. Good Lord. Woo! Makes me breathless to think about it. Okay, so, all right. So I'm going to take my aureolin. Oops. Okay, I'm going to throw some yellow down. What? What? The sky is blue. What? You'll see. I want to create a mood. Now, I clean that up, and I'm going to take a little bit of the alizarin crimson. Don't want to. This is a really strong color, so I got to be careful with this. Look at that. Woo-hoo! This is where watercolor is fun. Wow. And you've got that. And I'm taking that red right into and the yellow right into there. And all right. Now we mix up a little bit of cerulean blue. This is a lighthouse. I'm going to pretend that it's sort of at dawn. And I've got that sort of warm colors at the horizon. Okay, I've got a mixture of cerulean blue and ultramarine. You guys are all watching, right? Okay. And I'm going to start throwing it on here. Come on. Come on. Ugh. And this, you don't have to be too careful about this. In fact, some of your brushwork can actually create some action feeling. I want to keep a tranquil look though, so I'm not going to go too crazy here. I'm going to take this blue right down across. I'm overlapping that red. Pulling this blue down into the red. And now I turn the painting up. Just also get a little bit more blue on this. This is the shadow area of the lighthouse. Right in there. A couple of those lines. Okay, and I'm gonna, I even can throw a little bit more. I don't always like going back in, but I'm gonna throw a little bit more color at the top. I want to keep. And do I worry about some of those brush marks? No, it could be like clouds or feeling of air or. Okay, and as I turn my paper slightly, here's the red area. Take a little bit of blue right down here. Just didn't think I'd do this, but I am. Right between the red and the yellow, I'm throwing a little bit of blue in there. And now I'm going to just let it. Now I'm going to let it sit, and I'm going to, you can see I'm sort of tipping it and wiggling it, and I'm going to let it dry. So now I'm taking a break. I'll take about, well, I don't know how long that took, but I'm going to take a break now. I'm going to leave the camera on, and I'm going to have you. Well, I've got a pretty stiff line here, and I don't want it so stiff. So I'm going to just take color and soften that line so that I don't have a. And I'll take that blue and I'm going to go down into a few of these trees to remind myself that this is all sort of a dark area. All right, I'll leave the sky just the way it is. All right.
We have one question. Can you say something about getting the paint on the brush? It looks like multiple steps.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Repeat. The question was, can you say something about getting the paint on the brush? It looks like multiple steps.
You're watching my brush here. I usually put a little bit of water, make a little puddle of water, and poke my color and almost like pick it up. It should be soft color, almost like jelly. And then I put it into the water and I watch it. Then while it's still got the other color on there, I poke the other color and I put it in another space and I move it up until I get them both together. If I go a color like this red, and I go, ooh, wow, that's too much. I don't want to mess that all up. So I'll clean my brush off and now I'll take my red and maybe just move a little bit of it into there and create a purple. But if I take the red and just dump it right in the middle of blue, I may have overdone it, like pouring too much salt into a recipe. You can't go back again, or you have to start again. Yeah, can you see?
Well, you pinned it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I pinned it. I mean,
You pinned the palette?
Right.
He's running two Zoom accounts.
Right.
So does that, I hope that, and if you want to unmute yourself, please unmute now. That's all fine.
It's difficult to see, Ned, both the sketch and the other thing
Right.
at the same time. And for those of us who have never picked up a brush before,
Yep.
if you could just say something about the palette. I was looking at the sketch and then I had to remove the pin. So there's water in that middle section?
There's water in what? Oh, in the middle. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I dip my brush into the water and create a puddle of water in the middle of my palette.
Okay. Dip the brush in the water and then put water in the palette.
We'll use the brush to bring the water into the palette.
Okay.
So you make a little puddle.
All right. And so, okay. So then I should make little pockets. I'm sorry, I really missed the beginning part. Little pockets for those 6 colors?
When you say pockets, I mean, I've squeezed out my color already. Have you squeezed out your color into your palette?
No, I have not.
Okay, then take a few minutes to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you should take your color and have it nice and wet and in those different wells.
And Ned, what is the
Does that
blue
get
you're
water
using?
added to it?
Woody, I've used cerulean and ultramarine.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, keep coming with the questions. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not earning my keep.
So Ned, when you put the paint from the tube, do you then put also water in the little square?
No, you don't. Nope.
Water's just in the middle of the palette, right?
Yeah, the water you just use to use a brush to put it in the middle of the palette and then touch the brush to that nice juicy color. Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, I'm still getting the paint in the,
Okay. That's okay.
What size brush are you using, Ned?
Suzanne, he just walked over to talk to his in-gallery people. I'll ask him that when he comes back.
Okay, thank you.
Is that Aurelian yellow he used?
Say that again, Woody?
Is that the Aurelian yellow?
Cerulean yellow, Ned?
Yeah, that was
Yep.
the Oriole. Yeah.
Yep, Aureolin yellow, Woody.
Thank you.
Yep.
right, so brush into small container, brush into water in the section. Is that correct? In the big thing?
And then you bring that water and color probably onto your palette and swish it around the open area on the palette.
Maria, just quick question. Did Ned mix both blues together?
Yes, he did.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And the yellow, since I don't have the same yellows, I have yellow ochre and Joe's yellow. Do those get mixed together or just?
Hang on, Ann, I'll ask Ned.
What's that?
Ann wondered, she doesn't have your Aurelian yellow. She has ochre and gamboge, maybe? Throw a little gamboge in, Ann.
Yeah, no, I have ochre and Joe's yellow or lemon.
Oh, goes? Oh,
Joe's.
try the goes, Ned?
Joe's.
Jo-
Like the
Joe's?
mixed name, Joe.
Joe's, I see, Joe's, okay.
I
Joe's yellow or
have
ochre?
cadmium and yellow and lemon, so I'm just going to use some combination of those.
Right. He says use the cadmium lightly, Ellen.
And how wet should this be, Maria?
How wet should the paper be?
How wet should the paint be? And how wet should the paper be?
I'm kind of looking around. Pretty wet. I mean, not like saturated wet, but enough that the color will adhere to it and kind of start soaking in.
Oh, excuse me. Are we supposed to actually be painting now?
Yep. You may begin, Jean. Fire up the engine.
Thank you.
Boy, I like the painting behind your shoulder, Jean.
Oh, thank you. That's an acrylic I just finished.
Nice.
What brush do you put the colors on with?
We have two questions on brush. I'm going to grab Ned. Suzanne and Jennifer, Colorado, was wondering what brushes you were using.
Why do I have Edwin's iPhone?
Okay, so is this thing on here?
Yes.
Okay. How come I can't see it? Edwin's phone, how come it's not on?
Yeah, I just have Edwin's iPhone on. I don't have a
Yeah, I
picture
know.
anymore.
Why did, Bill, how come
Did it pop out?
It just has a black screen that says iPhone.
Okay, so it means,
but I've got the power going to it.
right, but it might have.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, it's low battery.
Well-
So click the battery, make sure the battery's on.
Okay, Yep, there, now it's on blue. Okay, there it goes.
There we go.
All right, so,
Maybe does it click off if it's
See, I
not
didn't
on
turn it
permanent?
Yeah, it's low battery, then it poops out.
okay, so what do you do? Hit low battery mode or hit
Yeah.
close?
Hit low battery, no, close.
Okay, actually it goes out on its own, it's coming
There
back,
we go, we're on.
Okay, we're on.
and you may need
I
to,
need to reorganize my picture because it comes out. Okay, I'm getting around to the, good, there we go. I'm getting around to the question of the brush. When I put the water on, I use this is the biggest brush I have. It's about a one inch and it's kind of a soft squirrel. I also have, I think most of you bought a 3/4 of an inch brush. This works pretty well. If you happen to have a mop brush like this also works well, but.
Which one do you put the paint with?
What's that?
Which one do you put the paint on with?
I used this big one when I did the yellows and blues. Yeah, the whole sky was done with the biggest brush I have.
Okay.
The same one that I wet the paper with, yeah.
Ned, can you get the camera back on your water, your sketch,
I think it should be.
Well, right now it is.
There, see it, Woody?
okay. Oh, I see. Yep, thank you. Got it.
No, the battery ran out for a minute and I had to
Got it.
fix it. Is that okay? Mine in the background? See it behind it?
Order was yellow, blue, red?
Yellow at the bottom, a red sort of in the middle, and blue is on the top.
And how do you clean your brush? I feel like now my little water bin is brown.
The fact that you said your little water bin, that's the problem.
Ah,
I have what is this, a one pint?
Pint.
I have 2 pint containers of water, and one of them I'm already going to change because it's already turned to a pretty strong color. Yeah, and I also dab my brushes on a sponge, and I can also hold a paper towel in my left hand.
the yellow's down at the horizon.
Right.
Excuse me, is it just me or is everyone seeing whoever is speaking? I don't see the canvas
I don't see the
anymore.
painting.
Okay, I'll look at that. Here, there's the painting now.
Down at the lower.
it depends on your view, how you've selected the view up at the top right. If you select speaker view, then the person who's speaking will pop up. Or you can go to a particular page like the sketch or the palette and pin it, but you can only pin one thing at a time.
That's helpful, Anne. So
How do you pin it
can't- you
though? I
can't be-
see gallery and speaker. I don't see other options.
So if you go to the actual view that you want to see, go to the camera view that you want to see and you click on that.
I don't see it.
Do you have an arrow at the top of the page?
Yes.
Got it.
Click on that until you find the one you see,
Oh, I see.
and then click on the picture that you want to see.
Ah, thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you, Anne. You're so good.
You're welcome.
Just like I remember.
Whoops, went away again. I don't know. Well, I I had it, but I don't have it anymore.
What do you need?
I want a big picture
You
of
want
the
to
painting.
of the painting. So
Right.
click, do you see it at all?
Yes.
Okay, click on it.
Double click or single?
Just single click, and then up in the top, you should see 3 little dots.
Right.
So click on the 3 little dots
Uh-huh.
and say pin.
Pin.
Mhm.
Okay. Ah, you're such a big help. Wonderful. Thank you.
Boy, Ann, thank you very much, Ann. That's huge.
You're welcome. The only problem is when you have that pinned, if then Ned is talking about the palette, you have to unpin it and find the other camera.
Oh, I see.
What colors did he use for the shadows in the
Yeah.
lighthouse?
That was just a little bit of the blue and red, the ultramarine blue and the alizarin crimson.
I just discovered you have a cloud with a paper towel. You can make a cloud with a paper towel.
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
You guys are here. I made a homemade spice cake with a really nice frosting.
Oh, cookies slices are out.
I've heard about the vodka. So I'm happy to cut you guys some pieces and leave them for you. That sounds great. You're in? Okay. That's the benefit of the gallery.
Ned, are you there?
I am.
Try to-
Okay, looking good. Ann, looks good.
Can you see it?
Well, when you talk, then you become my full screen. Do it
Oh.
again.
Oh, you're on speaker view.
Yeah, okay. So now
Yeah, fine. Yep, you're fine.
All right.
If my experience with people in the gallery holds true with those of you painting remotely, you need to have plenty of water in your containers. I see people with tiny amount, 3 tablespoons of water. You need to have a pint. I have 2 pints of water sitting
Okay.
next to me. Because when you clean your brush, you want it to be thoroughly cleaned. You don't want a whole lot of reds or browns mixing in with a blue when you don't want it.
Okay. Ned, how did you get that fairly straight line for the shadow? Because my shadow has now encroached sort of almost a quarter of the way down the lighthouse. It's
Ned just ran next door to McKinney and Doyle to get a coffee, so sadly I'm at the helm here. So let me make up an answer. It looks, you're talking about, Ann, right on the middle of the lighthouse?
yeah, right up at the top.
Yep.
You know where, so mine just sort of fell down from there because it was.
I suspect it was fairly dry, or he put his brush on the edge and moved inward.
Oh,
Here you go.
Hang on, here he comes. It must have been it must have been the express line for the espresso. By the way, I'm available for stand-up if anybody needs anything. Okay. Ned, do you have a question from, Ann had a question about how you made your nice crisp line in the lighthouse.
Crisp, I wish it wasn't so crisp. I may try to soften that with a brush.
So how did you actually
Oh,
achieve the
you put shadows
crispness?
already.
Just drew it straight, I guess.
But was it, no, I think she's talking about your actual painted line.
I know, I just drew.
But was your brush kind of dry?
No, I'm gonna sort of soften this line because I don't like that it's such a.
Oh,
I'm taking my brush almost like a mop. I'm just pushing water over that edge. And it's just kind of moving it a little bit, so it's not quite so.
Ed,
Yeah,
I got too much color on my white on the lighthouse, and I want to kind of get rid of it and make it more white, not as pink.
okay.
How do I get rid of the?
If you
color?
take have in one hand a paper towel,
Yeah,
then in the other hand a brush with just some clean water,
yeah.
and use the brush with the water to kind of rub or loosen the color that you want to pick up, and then
Oh,
dab it with the paper towel.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Now, did you use a 2B pencil to do the sketch or a 1B or?
I did. I probably should have used a 4B so you guys could see it better.
That's all right. I might have used too soft a pen.
Yeah.
I guess, as I was drawing, I sort of smeared the lead over the paper.
I know. Yeah.
My wrist, whatever. Okay. But I think it's okay.
Ned,
Oh,
so at some point, should we stop and let it dry?
yes. There's no reason to keep going. If you've reached a stopping point, I still have a few people here dabbing with their brushes, but just stop and hold, you'll be fine.
All right. I mean, I could keep doing this over and over, but I think I should stop, let it dry. I'm really enjoying the paper towel.
Good.
Yeah, me too.
Does it matter that it doesn't look like yours?
And you all have hopefully a damp sponge near your palette so you can
Oops.
take some water off your brushes by just dabbing on the palette. I'm sorry, dabbing on the sponge.
That's better than a paper towel.
I think so. Sometimes people with paper towels tend to squeeze the brushes and kind of rip the hairs out of them. I think if you just
Yeah. Okay.
dab it on a sponge, it's a little gentler on the brush. Oh, by the way, I found my pencils and eraser underneath all my paints.
You guys, I'm gonna take off. I gotta head back to Vermont right now, but I'll see you next Monday.
Oh.
Good luck. Good luck, team. Good team. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for all being
Safe
here.
trip.
It's a beautiful day to travel. Where are you going? Back to our house in Vermont. Oh, nice. At 3 o'clock. I'll be.
She's the head chef to make how many meals today at 3 o'clock?
About 300 meals.
300.
So I have about 2.5 hours to figure out our menu. And what
At
we're
3 o'clock?
We have to make a reservation. Exactly. That'll be next
How long
week.
does it take to go? It's 3 hours to go.
2.5. Yeah. What's that?
Hey Ned, where do you live?
2.5 hours up to.
Maria's leaving now to our house in Vermont. We live in Arlington, Vermont. But she's going to Dorset to do some work in a soup kitchen.
My young sister just moved to West Windsor.
Westminster, Vermont?
West Windsor.
West Windsor. Oh, really? Very pretty.
She just moved there like 2 months ago. She grew up in Norwich.
Okay. You did?
My sister did.
Okay. Because when I've talked to my brother and sister about connecting with you online, they both remember Phoebe.
Right, but then we have a half sister that's about 15 years younger than us.
Oh my gosh. Well, none of us would remember her.
Yeah, she grew up in Norwich,
Okay.
Hanover area, Hanover, New Hampshire.
Yeah. No, it's in
Yeah,
a different
Phoebe-
time. You can,
My
in a
sister.
different era, you
Phoebe
take advantage of all the concerts and lectures at Hanover.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Ned,
Yep.
is there a way to show you what we've done so we could get some feedback on, for example, I seem to be hesitant to use this colors strongly or something like that. Some general feedback on what we could
Yeah.
do to improve what we're working on.
Yeah, that's, that would be, with 16 people and most of them are remote, it'd be hard for me to talk with each person about his or her painting. What's that? Yeah, I mean, we could work on maybe doing tutorials on the side. Ellen, do you want to put your piece up in front of the camera, and then when you talk, I see you, and if you're talking, I can see your painting.
Oh, that looks great.
Well, it looks a lot darker than it is.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fine.
Bye-bye,
And
Cynthia.
I lost my pencil line.
the part around the trees, I see you colored through the background color on, not green. Is that what you recommend?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. My next step will now be to dip into those, the foreground, and then maybe get into the greens a little bit.
I've never
Okay, I'm
painted
going to
my
say
life.
that we are, I'm going to ask you guys to mute your microphones again. And I'm gonna work, I gotta get my head back into this. I'm gonna work into the foreground with some washes for the grasses and probably start in on some of the trees. So, so get ready for another ride here. Okay, so you can see me and I got my coffee all loaded up. Okay, now what am I doing? In watercolor, you always work from light to dark. So that I'm gonna have a fairly pale foreground here. And like I did before, I think I have a bigger piece of paper than many of you are painting on. So I have bigger brushes. The only real difference is if I've got a big piece of paper, I use a big brush. If you have a smaller piece of paper, your brush doesn't have to be as big. It can be smaller. It's kind of a thing of scale. Okay. So, yeah, Maria, I'm just putting water across here. Water across, just pure plain water. Okay. And you guys aren't painting with me. Just watch, just watch. I'll paint. You guys sip your coffee or have a little bit of your breakfast food that Maria brought in. All right. Now, the foreground, I don't see it as yellow. I mean, it's that wispy, dry grass. I'm going to dip into the raw sienna, which I find is usually I don't use a color just out of the tube, but raw sienna is pretty damn good. I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna in there, which is the reddish brown. Whew. Okay, I don't want to get too much of it. Okay, so burnt sienna and raw sienna. And I'm going to just throw these. I got to be careful right here at the ocean level. I want to keep that line tight. These are those bushes up in here. I'm going to cover them, and here we go. Bill, you're not even paying attention anymore, right? You're not even paying attention.
You?
Yeah. All right. All right. So I painted right through. I got a piece of hair comes off of there. Okay. There we go. Now, while it's wet, I'm going to be careful here. It's almost too wet. No, I can just tell it's too wet. I'm going to start on the trees. Ready? I'll clean my palette off. I got this is called a number 6 Isabey. It's a fairly floppy brush, but any large round brush will work for you. And I'm going to throw in some aureole. I'm going to work on this bush over here, aureolin, a little cerulean. And I'm going to throw, okay, there's a little bit of that bush there. Okay, there we go. Okay, do I want to put a little bit of that in here? Oh, I don't know. All right.
Well, where'd you get that green?
That was Aureolin and cerulean blue.
You don't use green, you make your own.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't use the greens that the chemists make at the factory. I like to make my own green. So,
Great green.
and just like I rarely will use a blue just straight out of the tube. I usually mix the blue with another blue or with a little bit of red to make it toward the purple. So I rarely use a color just out of the tube. That's not a hard and fast. Okay, now these windswept pine trees. I'm letting this stuff in the foreground dry. That's why I'm getting away from that. Okay, raw sienna, ultramarine blue, a mixture. Okay, and I'm going to do this. Here we go. Ooh. Raw sienna. The light's coming from this side, so the more yellowy part of the tree is going to be on the left side. And I'm just flicking out the brush to create, and it doesn't have a lot of water on it, to create a little feeling of the okay, then I take a little bit more blue in it. Raw sienna, blue. And on the right side of it, this is the side that's not in light. I'm going to flick up a little bit of this. And again, these trees, because they're next to a light, they're on a point of land that gets a lot of wind. They're never really symmetrical like we think of Christmas trees. They are always, the wind is blowing this way. These branches will usually be longer, and the branches in the wind will be a little bit smaller. So these are, you're not trying to make them symmetrical. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Now I've got a dark tree. I'm going to use a little bit of New Gambo's yellows. I'm just switching yellows for a minute with the ultramarine blue. So it's a slightly different yellow. Okay, and I have a darker bush down here in front of that pine tree, in front of that lighter bush. The two are kind of blending together. There we go. And I'm gonna have kind of a ragged edge down here. Go across. I kind of like that. Okay, now back again to my other two trees. This, wow. The yellowish color here. Let your brush dance. Raw sienna, a little bit of blue. This is the littler one. Okay, now I'm getting almost pure blue to darken this thing up.
How'd you get that brown color on that green?
Yeah, it's just raw sienna and ultramarine blue. So I don't have any brown in it.
Oh. Huh.
Okay, a little bit more. This gets a little crazy when you have two trees next to each other. You want to leave some holes, and where you can see through, like right in here, right in there, so that it doesn't look too dense. I'm bringing that down a little. Okay, this little tree is in front of the other one. Okay, now I'm getting all excited because there are a lot of things I want to do at once. I'm gonna get a few more strokes and then I'm gonna send it back to you guys. I'm gonna take my raw sienna and I'm gonna get a little bit of raw umber. Nope, not sure I like that. I'm gonna get a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Okay, now here's some shadows here. Now, watch what I'm going to do with the foreground here. I want a raggedy. The paper is still really wet, so that's why I stopped for a minute and went over to the trees. Let's get a little bit more. Come on, I can't. It drives me crazy when I
Ned,
run
did
out
you
of
say
paint.
that's just
Yeah.
raw sienna you're using?
What's that?
Did you say that's just raw sienna now that you're using?
Raw sienna, I put a little burnt raw umber in it too.
Thank you.
Okay, this is kind of cool. Okay, now, watch carefully here. Got a little bit of blue, raw sienna. Now, I want okay, I'm gonna, come on. If I get too fussy here, it's gonna get all messed up. So just, here we go. Just rip it through there. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to keep this light area swinging around here. May kill some of this. Let's throw some darks. I'm going to go to a slightly smaller brush. Get too much green on here. I'm going to take some of this off. This is the shadow creeping up the side of the lighthouse. And I can use this blue to deepen the shadows down below these trees.
That's the alizarin crimson there with the blue.
Yes, yep.
Thank you.
Now it sounds like the Mario Cuomo press conferences. Your microphone is unmuted. Can you ask the question, please? Yes, Governor. Okay, I've got these little bushes here, and I've got the light side to them. I'm just going to paint a dark edge. Like a lot of things, I am thinking of these three things. I got these bushes here. It's I think of Papa bear, Mama bear, baby bear. You often work in threes, and you have things of different sizes. And this is just these bushes that are right up against the ocean there. And I'm now going to make these little flick marks down here. And flick up from the bottom, because this is now drying. And I can create a feeling of dry grasses. Raw sienna, pure raw sienna, a little burnt sienna. So just the edge of those grasses, I'm pushing up to create that line of texture. Okay, I'm gonna hold off here and let you guys do some painting. So we're basically doing the foreground with some grasses. I think I don't like that light over there. And you want to keep some lights and darks down in medium tones, but lights and darks, and definitely some darker tones in the shadows. And these trees up here, have some fun with those because they're really they're just dancing. All right, we'll see how that goes.
And once again, Ned, the foreground, the first color you put down was a
Raw sienna.
very light. Okay, thank you.
Yep, light. I had put a little bit of burnt sienna in with it, so it had a little bit of reddish yellow to it. But and now my water is totally. If you're looking at the picture, this is disgusting. So I'm going to change this out before I continue. You know, people say to me, "How much water do you put on your brush?" It's like, how do you answer a question like that?
Well, no, you said start lighter.
I'm sorry, what color did you use for the left side of the tree? Hello?
Yeah, then you got a question.
Yeah, changing my water.
The left side of the tree, the light side of the tree, what colors, what that?
The left side of the tree, the side in light, I use mostly just pure raw sienna.
Raw sienna, okay.
Yep.
And the right
And
side
then-
is what, blue with raw sienna?
And the right side is, yes, a little ultramarine blue added to the raw sienna.
Oh.
And they kind of blend in the middle.
Right.
Have to go, Ned.
Okay, is that Ann? Okay, great.
Yep,
And so
thank
I'm recording this. I'm going to be I'll send you and Jennifer Taylor recordings. And at the end of class, I'll see if anyone else wants the recording, but.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
you.
I would want to one too.
Stuff going on. Oh,
How did you get the very light green?
The one down in this corner, I used aureolin and cerulean blue. The aureolin is the very, very pale green.
Thing I have labeled as aureola. It's almost like a yellow. I mean, like a brown.
Aureolin is what color?
Green?
Green?
Yellow. It's yellow.
It's yellow. It's red, almost brown. Well, I don't know why.
What, your
mine is-
aureolin is almost brown?
Yeah, maybe it's dirty. That could be.
Maybe it's an old color. I don't know.
Ay, ay, ay.
What do the long-term effects are of doing this once a day?
No, it's yellow, right?
I've been trying to paint just because of this class. I've been trying to paint an hour and a half or two each day just so I don't sort of lose my. And also, if you paint everything in your color, it will dry out of it. It'll sort of dry after the paint.
Oh, I should let that dry. And we go to the darker. This a little bit?
Yeah, you can draw a little bit of dark on the dark side, on the right side of the tree. It's a little darker than the.
Right, but I thought we were building up to that, although oftentimes.
While it's lighting up the tree, that you may as well throw in some dark bluish greens on that side.
Okay. Yeah,
You use this one?
I guess, or I need to even play with this. Oh, that's an interesting concept.
There's some colors I find almost poisonous. They're so strong. I can't control them.
All right.
You know, it's like red pepper flakes.
Red pepper flakes, so.
Yeah, I'm water, this ocean water, because it's so dark. That's one of my last colors. Yeah, I suppose my sketch I should have. Yeah. I'm thinking now, I kind of wish I had done the shadow of the tower a little darker before I put the tree in front of it. That's what I'm saying. So that was normally kind of keep the tower and then. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. They're using awfully small brush. Because this is beautiful. This is small color twice. You know what? I'm always told that I don't think to swear God. My teachers are always, oh my God. 2 or 3 strokes, oh my God. I'm glad I translated my problem. No, it's so funny. Now, while you got this photograph we're doing here, you have this video of weeds and unchecked lawn. Let's get a little bit more. The green trees are a little flat because it's green all the way across. Let's have this side of the trees a little bit darker green. So that would be. So we feel like the sunlight's coming from here to that, and that's the shadow. That'd be maybe if you're maybe just that. Yeah, raw sienna and the darker blue. The darker blue get a little bit darker. Good. You know, I hate to say good, and then you're gonna stop. You got a nice irregular touch in there. I wouldn't mess with it. Yeah. So put a couple of those darks at the bottoms of these little bushes. They kind of like baked potatoes sitting on the edge of the lawn.
About an hour and a half. You know what I'm doing this morning?
Whoa. That.
What color was the shadow on the tower?
I use a little bit of the blue, the darker blue, and that very strong red, the alizarin red. Be careful, that alizarin can really, can overpower the blue.
The only color they didn't have at Jay's Art Supplies was alizarin red.
Oh, is that right?
A giant. I'll get it. I'm going to get it though. I think it's going to be in today or something. But I had an old dried tube.
You had a dry tube? Did you get it to work?
Yes. Yes.
Good, good. How about that Jay and Jay's Art Supply? Holy smokes.
Boy, he certainly doesn't handle for anything. That's for sure.
You know how old he is?
No.
89.
Nope.
What was Jay up to? Or
Yeah.
Joe?
What's that?
What was Joe doing?
No, we're talking about an art supply store in Vermont.
Yeah, I know, Chief Joe's.
No, this is a Jay's.
Oh,
Where's Jay's Art Supply Store?
Bennington.
It's in Brattleboro. No, Bennington. Bennington.
Yeah, Bennington, Vermont. It's a good store. They have everything, actually.
But far
they really
from
do.
Pauling. Very far
Yeah,
from
no,
Pauling.
it's right.
I bought a flat file from him. I won't even tell you how much that cost, but I had to have it.
So he wasn't selling it used to clear out his place. You were buying it from him?
Yes, on
Yeah.
order. Ouch.
Did you lose power? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I got it back. I think I better plug my.
you need another battery?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna plug this into the wall or something. Yeah, this battery is pooping out.
Greggy.
Next time we do, I will pause during the.
Ned, I have a sky question. My sky is pretty like splotchy. Probably too many brush strokes. Any suggestions?
Strokes. What was the question again?
My sky is kind of blotchy or streaky. Anything I can do or just leave it?
No. That's beautiful. No, this is, you're not trying to you're not imitating me. You got a nice loose watercolory feel in that. I wouldn't touch it.
Okay,
No, it's good.
I like yours better.
If I kept comparing myself to Winslow Homer, I'd quit painting too,
Okay.
Oh my God. That's so bad.
Yeah. Make sure to press the button.
Okay, so I see four white lights.
Yeah, well,
We just volunteer people. We just volunteer people.
you get it on?
Yeah, I did. I just plugged it in. Yeah.
I want to show him the picture and see if there's any suggestions. See, how do I do that? Without covering, I have to move. Ned,
Yeah, Ellen, I'm looking right at
Yeah.
you. Put
Yeah,
it
let me
up.
see if I can, I'm trying to figure out how to show you the picture to see if I have any suggestion.
Yeah, just put it right up in front of your face. Because when you talk, I'm seeing you.
Jordan, how do I switch camera? There,
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, do that again.
there.
Or you're
Can
great.
you see
You're
it?
good. Yeah.
Great.
That's looking great. Terrific.
It looks better in the picture than for real.
I can't get those browns. I know dare show mine. I've never done this before in my life, so I'm like really intimidated.
Okay, let me give everybody a couple of more minutes just to finish up the foreground. And I want to do sort of one last pass to work on the lighthouse and the ocean.
The
So
ocean.
if you all could mute yourselves and then get back to the painting that I'm doing, I'll try to finish this up first. All right. All right, Ellen, Marie, you guys ready? I have a decent sized round brush that I'm going to use to do the tower, the shadow, and I'll do a little bit of the headlands, and eventually I'll do the water. Marie? Marie? Stand by. Okay, so this is my shadow color. It's gonna get a little bit of that alizarin crimson. Now, if you look at the lighthouse and if you squint at the picture, you can see that the lighthouse is significantly, on the shadow side, significantly darker than the sky. So what you don't want to do is make your shadow too timid. So you do want to get, all right, you ready?
What color are you using?
Ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. Now I'm painting it up around these the bottom of that gallery. Okay, now while it's still soft, I'm washing my brush out, rubbing on the sponge, and right here I want this to be a soft edge. So I'm putting clear water on that edge so that side of the lighthouse isn't gradually changes from the dark to the light. All right, while I've got that same tone, I'm just gonna go and with as large a brush as I dare, I'm gonna keep going up here. I'm gonna do okay. Wish me luck. It's a kind of like a witch's cap up here. So it's got a little dome thing. Now, what are we doing here? I'm gonna get a little bit smaller brush. I'm getting nervous. Okay. Here, lines of this railing. Now it's fairly dark down here. And these brackets. Okay, I want you to look closely. I'm going to move this up. I want you to look closely. I have painted in the darks around the lighthouse top, but I've also painted around a couple of those balustrade things and left them kind of light so they sort of jump out a little bit at you. I think maybe I'm going to get rid of that right there. There we go. I'm going to leave that for now. We're going to come back to it. Wow. Now I'm going to go down into the headlands. Now the distant Cape Cod is very pale. You almost don't see it, but it's there. I want to make an absolute straight line. So as I'm painting, I'm actually just standing and leaning my body off to the side so I get a straight line.
What color
Right,
are you using?
That's the same alizarin crimson and cerulean ultramarine as I just had in the lighthouse, only just a little bit more water. All right, now I can't forget that there's some Cape Cod over here. Okay, now, are you ready? Everybody watching? Yes? Okay. Drum roll, please. I'm getting a pretty dark ultramarine blue, a teeny bit of the alizarin crimson, and this is not much water. Now, I'm going to paint just, I'm going to stop now so I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to leave a little bit of color, a light color between the land and the sea, and that's going to be a little suggestion of the beach on the far side. You see that? And that color is actually some of the yellow left over from when I first started the painting. It's not absolute white like the lighthouse. And this is a strong blue. It's almost, in my value sketch, I should have put it in. It's almost like it's almost the darkest dark. I'm going around a couple of these little bushes. I called them baked potatoes before. That was unfair, but they are these sort of lumpy bushes.
Do you have a color palette you suggested? Because I don't know how to mix these colors. This is.
Yeah, in my suggested materials list, I had ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson as two of the colors I use.
Didn't come
Get
in.
a little bit of that blue way over there, way here. And there's that nice bit of blue. And now I'm looking at the Cape Cod. I think, damn, that thing is too light. Damn it. I'm going to go over the Cape one more time. I think it came out it dried lighter than I expected. Just the ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson again. Yeah, kind of a purplish hue, yep. There we go. So now the Cape is there in the distance. that line looks almost too thick, so I'm gonna make that a little thinner. This is really testing my, having had a cup of coffee, testing my okay, so now go back to the lighthouse for the last, this is the last pass. A little bit of the blue and the alizarin, and on, let me get my picture back, on this side of the lighthouse, it's darker, this roof. See that? And inside the lighthouse, underneath the roof, you see how that's working out there? Now in the picture, there's a panel that doesn't have glass in it. So I've got that there. And I'm going to put a little bit of this, that, back to here. Ooh, what was that? Okay, now underneath the gallery, I'm getting another dark blue. It comes around and it turns in. It turns in against the lighthouse. I want to make sure you're seeing that. Here we go. See it? I'm turning the corner a little bit. And now I got my brackets. One. These are these little bit of L-shaped things, but when I'm looking at it straight on, they're pretty much straight. So this is, but if they're out on the side, they have an L shape. Now with a very light touch. Oh, did I forget I forgot that little porthole up here. There's a teeny little porthole up there. If you climb the stairs, it's how you look out. Now, while I've got a dark color on here, I'm going to put the bracket. It's a V-shaped bracket, just barely sticks out over the edge. You see that? Over the window. And then the window. There we go. Now, with the smallish brush that I use, again, with that same mixture of a purpley color, I'm just going to give it a little, come on. I had no color on it. Come on. I'm going to do a little hint of these lines. A little bit more dark under there, a little bit more dark there. Oh, right along the edge of the gallery, there is a dark line right there. That makes that look a little more 3D. This window sort of gets lost down there. I'm going to grab a little bit of red. See if I can get it to jump out a little bit. Put a little bit of red in that window. Let's say it's reflecting maybe some of the red in the sky. Do I dare put anything up here? That little pointy thing at the top. And I think I'm done. You know, look at the top, some of the details, the light. There's a general tone on here. And then there's I let it dry, and then there was a little bit of a darker tone. There, I'm putting in those little bits of darker tone. So purple here, but then the darker underneath. And that's about it. All right.
Incredible job. Thank you.
I think another time we've been talking in the gallery. Oh, when I record this, I will record only when I'm painting and not those 15-minute gaps where you guys are asking me questions. And because to watch a video of this, there would be a lot of kind of boring downtime. But anyway, live and learn on that one. I may down here throw in. I may throw in a few more darks. I just don't want to overdo it.
What colors are the tower?
It was the alizarin crimson and the ultramarine blue.
That's the darkest red?
Yep, yes. The darkest red and the darkest blue give you a nice, I like it much better than black. Black can be so deadly. And I hope some of you that might have black in your watercolor kit will avoid it. Just don't use it.
So avoid the blacks and the grays, huh?
Yep, yes. Mhm.
We cancel the gray.
Yeah, a little bit more darks down here. This is a little,
Well, I noticed that you see a path in your paint, but the photograph doesn't really see it.
no, it doesn't, not at all. And I want to do something at the foreground other than just have it one flat color, you know? So in my mind, Bill is asking about the shadow, the path in the grasses. In my mind, I wanted something to lead me back. And I actually have a little lead in right here. You come in from the parking lot and then make that turn.
And that's all it is in reality?
No, no, it really isn't.
Oh, it's Ned's world.
It's just, yeah, exactly. It's using design to bring you to my focal point. Yeah, that works out pretty good. I'm going to give you a few minutes to keep working. And I do want to give you a homework assignment. But I'm going to have you paint first. And it's 12:10 right now in Eastern Standard Time. About another 10 or 12 minutes, and then I'll do a little homework, and we'll end by 12:30.
Ned, I need to get off. It's 10 o'clock my time.
That's fine. Yes. So
What's homework?
if I send you the video, Jennifer, just watch the last 10 minutes or something.
Okay.
It'll be your homework assignment for next week.
Okay.
Great to have you aboard.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, and I hope your operation goes smoothly. You say that's tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Okay.
But
And,
I did the whole painting with my left hand today, so I'm getting in practice.
Good for you. And what do the doctors say? What's your ability level going to be next week?
Rotator cuff surgery.
Okay. So you can't pitch any more than 1 or 2 innings, right?
That's right. That's right. But I'm gonna paint. Darn it, I'm gonna paint.
Good. Okay, well, you leave us when you have to, and Great connecting with you, Jennifer.
Yeah, same here. Good to see you after all these years. Boy, it's been a long time.
I know.
50 years or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 50 years.
50 years.
Is that Marco? How are you doing? Yeah, we're on a new show, but today I taught a watercolor class. I have 4 or 5 here, and I have 12 online. One lady from Colorado just signed up. Yeah, yeah, take a look, and this is what my demonstration today was. This is what I painted today for the class to work on.
Oh, so you paint one and then they try to paint.
I did the sky, and then they all did the sky.
Oh, okay.
And then I did the lighthouse, and they did the lighthouse.
Didn't Maria say she wanted the whole one replaced?
Oh, did she say that?
Thought I heard.
Okay, if she did, then. Yes, she did.
She did. Because the bamboo, I just pulled it out.
Okay, fine.
This is the first time I've ever seen
Where
bamboo.
did I throw mine out?
In the garbage can.
Okay, so leave them off to the side, I'll take them home.
I have a feeling she's been a good cook for a long time.
My husband used to say that watercolor is the most difficult of all the mediums. Because it's, there it is.
Yeah, it's a little bit unforgiving, yeah.
Okay, I'm doing my rounds.
Yeah, good, good.
Thank you
Good for
very
you.
much. It was interesting. Ned, the class was great.
Good. And I guess what I do, was it helpful for me to do the drawing demo? Then you could do the drawing before you take the class? Some classes say, okay, now draw, like you're in the class, and everybody's drawing.
The only thing that I would do is maybe, because it's almost like you finish the painting and then you have to go back and remember everything. I think I would just do like 3 or 4 minutes and then some, forgot the wall, like what color did you use?
Right. Oh, I know.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
I know, as soon as I do the sky, I try to stop so you can do the sky, because I don't want to get in the grass. But
And it's love it, it's great.
Good.
And if you send out the pictures ahead of time, two
Yeah.
things. If you send it out ahead of time, and draw. And the second thing is, if we want to, if we're doing a whole session,
Yeah.
if we want to keep working on the same painting, do you have a problem with that?
No, I mean, it's up to you. If you say, oh, I learned a lot, there's something I didn't like about it, then you can say do the same painting.
Yeah.
Over.
Or keep going on.
Or keep going, yeah, for instance, okay, I'm done for today, I'm running out of gas. We touch it up later on.
Right, okay, but I did work a lot.
Good. Here's some of your best years right here, the sky came out really well. You get drawing was not really the problem.
Which brush do I use to do this tap water? I'm not doing well with this. Trying to.
Whoops, a fairly detailed brush.
This is too big.
So when you put these things back on.
I didn't do that, those
Oh.
are brand new. I did the same with this.
That's kind of annoying.
I know, I had them on here too. But he said brand new, I didn't touch these.
Well, so if I were you, I'd take a pair of scissors, just cut those.
It's brand. Well, which part like this tap on is terrible.
What don't you like?
Like I can't, like here, I can't get definite lines.
Okay, well,
Which one? Maybe I'm using the wrong brush.
You can use a little bit thinner brush.
Okay.
So, you know, when you're doing posts and wires, yeah, you gotta keep it fairly small brush.
Yes.
Yeah, don't, Marie, once you take them off, don't try to put them back on.
Oh, okay.
No, you end up throwing them out. They're just for packing, you know, when you're packing brushes.
Oh, so just kind of, so use this for the definite lines.
Yeah,
We're gonna finish this next week?
or you can finish it on your own.
Finish it on my own?
Yeah, yeah.
See, what I'm bad on is I don't know what colors to use. I never know which colors to use.
Well, you know,
Yeah, but Marie, everybody has their own color scent, so how I mix a blue or a purple is going to be different from how each of you would. Maybe you want to say, I don't know, I do, I can tell you, but,
Like, what did you use for the water here?
I use the darkest blue, that one right here. Almost pure, without anything,
Almost pure.
without a lot of water. Because if I wanted it dark.
Now, these things we're supposed to wash after we use them? You can't say these.
If I were you, take a sponge, kitchen sponge, wipe out these layers, leave this and put some saran wrap over it. You do that at home or something like that. And, or you put a little bit of drops of water on each one. Like, let's say you want to work on this tomorrow, a little bit, if you use water on them, they stay a little fresh. But if you don't touch them for a whole week, you're gonna have to squeeze out colors each week. Oh, yeah, nice. Good strong brush. A lot of people, when they paint watercolor, everything gets so pale. But you get a good flow. This worked out really well. Good job with lighthouse. Yeah. And you gotta like the way this little glow arises. It's good. Good. Nice job. As you heard me say, wipe this. Does this one have a top? Okay, great. So wipe this down. If you have a sprayer, spray your colors. And they will stay moist for a few days, but they're not gonna stay moist for 7 days. Yeah. Yeah.
So what color do you use?
I don't want to be the teacher, I don't want to be the. Yeah, no, go ahead.
The one that
We mean, like this one.
what color? Yeah.
Well, the white is just supposed to be the regular paper.
Okay, and then you just put a little of black on.
So let me show you, did you use these brushes?
I use two of them.
Oh, I see. Okay, so watch this. Because this got a little too.
Yes.
The color, I mean, too much color. So we'll take a brush.
Oh, I just,
Watch
oh,
this.
okay, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
Did you do the final thing?
So I rub it here. I'm getting it right
Did you
back.
get to the final thing yet?
To the white.
I was just like, oh, it's the final thing. Oh,
You
okay.
get whiter than.
Right.
And a sign.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna break it.
Because it has an angle,
Yes.
give you a good straight line.
And then you put what color to make it that 4 point?
I use kind of a purplish, a blue and red.
Ned, do you have any recommendation about whether it's possible to store this paint in some way? Now that it's been put out?
What's that?
If you put the palette in the refrigerator, does it last a little longer, the paint that's been put out?
It does. Yep, it does. Yep.
Okay.
I've done that, but then I don't have enough room for our bags of spinach and everything else.
Okay.
So Woody, is Greg happy that the Southern Vermont College
Oh,
building up
yeah.
so-
Oh, you have no idea.
You didn't want those hippies from California or from New York to
Yeah.
get a hold of it?
Yeah. It was a good, the best possible outcome. The hospital bought it and they're doing a good job here in Vermont.
Yeah.
How are you, when are you going to be back up here?
Well, Maria left in the middle of this class to go back up. I have a dentist appointment on Thursday, so I'll come up maybe Wednesday afternoon. But then, each Monday, this class will bring me back here, so it's a lot
Great.
of back and forth. Well, am I gonna do a homework assignment or am I not gonna bother?
You said you were.
Yeah, shall I do it?
I'm rolling.
Okay, all right. Let me,
Elaine is hanging on every single word.
All right, gotcha. Okay. Oh, shit. What do I do with my masking tape?
Your mask is on the corner of the table.
Down here?
Yes. Is that it? Oh, I thought that was it.
She said yes from the table.
Yeah.
Or mask.
Well, my mask is my top.
Oh, okay.
This is yours. What do I do with mine?
You'll find it when you start picking up.
Okay, I'm going to restart the lesson and give you some homework. Where did Elaine go? Probably in the bathroom. Okay, our objective is your homework is to practice your greens. So if I take, hey, Elaine, why don't you come over here and watch me? If I take cerulean blue, come on over.
You want you to come over.
And you're recording this, right?
Yep. So I've got a cerulean blue, I've got an ultramarine blue, and I'm making swatches. So I'm going to want you to practice. You can even practice on the back of the painting you did today.
This is
And
important. Oh, God.
okay, so I'll have the new let me try this. The aureolin yellow up here. The new gamboge yellow. And some of you have cadmium yellow, some other different colors. Chrome yellow is another one. And raw sienna, which I think of as my dirtier yellow. And let's practice the different greens you can make. If I use cerulean blue, and I clean my brush out, and alizarin, aureolin, and I bring them together, what kind of green do I get?
Yellow.
Right? Now, if I take the New Gamboge yellow, and I mix, and again, I gotta wash my brush out each time, cerulean blue, I get a different kind of green. And if I use the raw sienna with the cerulean blue, I get yet a third green. Okay, now let's try the same thing. If I take my ultramarine blue down here, I'm going to mix it with the aureolin. So this is like a grid. I didn't leave myself enough space. Here's my aureolin. I bring these together, and right in the middle, I'll create 1, 2, 3. Now I'm on my fourth green. The New Gamboge, for summer foliage, the New Gamboge and the ultramarine, I think, are the colors of choice. Oops. Trying to go fast. So then you get this color green, right? That's summer green, right? And today we're painting those evergreen trees with raw sienna and ultramarine blue. Here's the blue. And as they move together, you get that. I think it's sort of like an army green. You see that?
The khaki.
Yeah. So that's good for if you're doing
Pine trees, whatever.
pine trees and stuff like that. If you're doing a maple tree, blue there. There's a maple tree, you know.
What was that last combination again?
This one was raw sienna and
Raw sienna.
so I had my 3 yellows across here, my 2 blues. I should have moved them down, and then I get my
What was the first yellow?
six different greens. Now you could take the blues and the reds and practice your purples, and you'll get 6 different purples. But this is the way you begin to learn, like, this is how I get the green that I want. Like, that green's a lot different than that green. You know, that's a nice summertime, beautiful early spring, you know? And this is like winter time. So anyway, your homework would be to practice your greens, and maybe in a grid or a scrap piece of paper. Doesn't have to be, or like I said, the back of the piece of paper you're working on today, because both work. All right, thank you all very much. We'll see you next week. I will be sending out a picture for next week's assignment. It will be a farm scene, and I will do my drawing as a demo like I did before, and you can work on your drawing, you know, for homework.
Is the drawing going to be on Zoom, or I missed that?
Okay, yeah, we close. Okay, so I'm turning off the recording and ending our class. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Amy, are you going to send a video of the painting you did? Is that what it said?
Do you want me to send you a picture of the painting I just finished?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah. I can take a picture of it, no problem.
What was the first color yellow up there?
It was the aureolin yellow.
Oh, yellow.
And some of you might not have it. Some of you might have a lemon yellow, and that's fine too. Okay, so I'm ending the Zoom for today, and thank you all very much for, and
Great.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Thank
yeah, we'll see
you,
you
Ned.
next week. Yep.
Bye-bye.
See you later, Anne Marie.
Bye.
Bye, Amy.
Bye.